Welcome to another episode of Behind the Business, presented by Gore Mutual. Today's episode is also sponsored by BDC as we celebrate BDC Small Business Week. I'm your host, Ian McLean, President and CEO of the Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce. This podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. Each episode, I sit down for candid conversations where we go beyond the boardroom and behind the business to uncover the real stories within Waterloo Region's business community. Today's episode is sponsored by BDC, the Bank for Canadian Entrepreneurs, as we celebrate BDC Small Business Week from October 19th to 25th. Each day we're spotlighting a different small business owner from our community, the people who power our local economy, create jobs, and bring innovation to life. We're also excited to have this year's theme focus on the economic revolution and getting your business ready. Today we're sitting down with Nicholas Preisenhammer of Gladiator Pro Wash. What started as a small local exterior cleaning business quickly grew into a trusted company known for quality, reliability, and attention to detail. Nicholas has built his business on hard work and care for his clients, proving that small businesses can make a big impact through dedication and integrity. We'll explore how dedication, integrity, and customer care have fueled Nick's success and continue to drive his business forward. Join me as we go behind the business with Nicholas Preisenhammer. Well, thanks so much for spending time with us. With all entrepreneurs, I always say this in this series, time is probably your most valuable commodity. So thanks for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to talk a little bit about everything.
So let's start at the beginning. Tell us about yourself and the business and how it came to be.
Yeah, for sure. So I started about 5-6 years ago. I was laid off. It was during COVID, and I was working at a restaurant. I was going to school in Toronto. And that kind of, I was finished school. I got laid off because there's no work in the restaurant industry at that time. So I moved back home to Fergus, is where I'm from. And I just started knocking on doors, tried to sell different things. But window cleaning was kind of the easiest thing because it was super cheap to do. And people actually needed their windows cleaned in our area. So I started with that. It started as just Nick's window cleaning. And it proved concept. It was pretty good at the start. First year, didn't do much. It was just me and I did everything. But then we were able to scale and kind of double every single year since then. And then the second year I started it I made the company Gladiator, I actually branded it, incorporated, and then grew from there. So now we're at I think 17 full-time people, and we have a little over 4,500 people in our database. So it's been going pretty good.
What's your, just out of interest, do you geographically, are you kind of Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo? What's your business? Where do you focus your business?
Yeah. So if you drew a circle around it, it would be so started Fergus, but from there we go Mount Forest is kind of the most north we'll go, and then Cambridge, and then over to Halton Hills. So if you kind of drew a circle around that would be our service area. So really heavy in Guelph, obviously Fergus, we really dominate there, and then Kitchener, KW is kind of what we've moved into this year.
Cool.
But we like to do kind of one spot at a time, because then you're seeing way more rather than being spread kind of thin. Yeah. So if you're in Fergus, you see our signs, you see the trucks, you'll see us on Instagram, and then we won't move to another market until we can do all those three things in that market, because then they'll see us a lot more. It works a lot better.
So when you think back in the early days, so you really did start, necessity, the mother, or the necessity being the invention of the business is, COVID. What are you going to do? You started the business, you've grown it. What did you learn when you think back in those days as you got started? What did you learn, or what was the biggest learning curve or surprise about running your own business? Because you hadn't done that before. This is your first effort at owning a business. What was the biggest surprise or learning curve?
Yeah, the biggest learning curve would be that I didn't have to do everything on my own. That I could bring people on that kind of want to be a part of the vision and the journey, and get them to wear some of the hats. Because at first, it was tough. Like you do like, we did 10 times less what we do now and like work per year. And I was like 10 times more stressful, like doing everything. And like, I didn't really trust many people to do many things. But like they say in business, when you can hand something off and they can do it like 80-90% as good as you, then that's even better, because then they'll focus on it and then you're not spread so thin. And like usually you end up doing like a worse job if you're doing 20 different things rather than one person doing that one job. So that's kind of the biggest learning curve.
So that leads to the next question, because I was going to say, you as a small business owner, particularly when you're starting, you're doing everything, and you wear a lot of hats. So is that what you learned about yourself as a leader, or as an entrepreneur, is that you needed to hand things off? Not, you did, but did you come to that realizing, hey, I'm going to have to find someone who's really good at marketing, or, develop, make sure that you were focusing on the things you're really good at and be able to hand off some of the other pieces?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say like another thing I learned with handing things off is that you should just focus on what you're best at. And for me, like I'm really good at like sales, marketing. I'm really good at a little bit of operations, but I don't love the operations side of things. So like I've brought in a few people that like really handle pretty much all the operations. And like I still look and I'll track like kind of what's going on, and we'll sit down and like, figure stuff out when there's challenges. But yeah, for me, I learned that my best things are like sales, marketing. And so I really focus on that, mostly marketing. Like we have people that do the sales, but also manage the sales. But yeah, that's kind of what I learned throughout the journey, is like just focus on what you're good at. Because then, that'll yield a lot more than if you do everything.
So you've developed a relationship with BDC, and of course it's BDC Small Business Week. So we're pleased to do this series, and we've had, we have a series of these conversations coming out with a variety of different entrepreneurs. Talk about how the relationship with BDC started, because they are, you've got probably an accountant and a law firm, and some of those professionals, and you probably have a traditional bank. Most businesses do, but BDC is something different. How did you kind of come to develop the relationship with BDC?
So when I first started, I always thought it was good to like pay everything in cash.
Yeah.
I never took on any debt, which like I still agree with now. Like if someone were to start a business now, unless they have a lot of experience, it's probably best just pay it in cash. It's paid off, and like if something happens, and it's okay at the end of the day. But then eventually we wanted to take on some debt, because it's hard to pay cash when you don't have to buy many trucks and stuff. It just makes more sense to take on debt that you can service easily, obviously. And so because we didn't have any debt, everything was cash. It was a lot harder to get a loan that was like a good rate, because we didn't have any like past history of debt. And then that's where the BDC came in. They're actually able to help us out so you guys do like equipment as well as like vehicles. So it's like all equipment you guys will finance. So although we always pay for our equipment in cash, the vehicles like is what we want to finance. We were able to get a really good rate on our first vehicle that we financed. And that really helped us out and like kind of set like the foundation for like how we're going to set up our one division, which is like our power washing side of things. That's kind of how it started. I found out about the BDC through there's a loan actually going on. It was like a CDAP loan that was going on, and it was like a $50,000 interest free or whatever, depending on your size company. And that's how I learned about it. And then I went back when we actually wanted to like get more trucks and that sort of thing.
And so for us at the Chamber of Commerce, I mean, we're always saying like we have relationships with obviously the banks, and they're partners of ours. BDC has been one of those best kept secrets of saying, they will help you in especially small businesses with when your risk profile, your traditional bank won't lend to you. Is a BDCs, that's what they're designed for, to help manage the risk as you're scaling your business. So we're big advocates of the work that they do and helping businesses grow and succeed and scale and in what you've done. and it leads to, as an entrepreneur, so you've got your the relationship with BDC as an example, but collaboration or mentorship is a big part of for every business as they grow. How have those partnerships and mentors, and the financial, support of people like BDC helped get you to where you are today?
So BDC, yeah, that's a good point what you said there before. Like BDC really looked at like me as an entrepreneur and then said, okay, like
here's what
although he does, like he doesn't have any debt, which that's the banks like look at. It's a big factor as well as like your numbers. But they said, oh, he has strong numbers, no debt. But it makes sense why he doesn't have debt, and like he has a lot of potential, And so, that's like a good reason why they wanted to work with us, and like why we still work.
Yeah,
with
so they're betting on potential and seeing exactly. That you've got a good book of business and you're a good risk to take on some debt that, frankly, traditional banks, it's the way they work. They're not in a position to do that.
Yeah,
so BDC filled that gap for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then like along with that, like the people that I've worked with, like Levi and Wes, and there's a couple others. There's also a lot of people that'll just like help, like if you need help, with certain aspects of the business. Like there's a lot of
advice and what you're thinking about growing your business. Are those like friends? Are they business colleagues? What are the types of people that have helped you kind of as bounce ideas off of?
Like just through the BDC or overall?
Overall, BDC's one, but are there others aside from BDC?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, a big one is like in our business, like we're a luxury service, people call it. So like you need to have a certain, you don't need to, but like not everyone's going to hire window cleaning unless you have like a certain amount of disposable income. So a lot of our clients, like we have some pretty big clients that like have, nice houses and stuff like that. And so a lot of them I've even just asked and just said like, hey, like you're obviously pretty successful. Like, can you give me some advice? And through that, I've gotten like networks of people that still help me today that I could call and I talk to all the time, and they have like massive businesses. It just happened through that. So yeah, it's crazy what you can do. Like if you just ask,
Well, and I think that's important, and particularly for a small entrepreneur that's watching or someone that's thinking of starting a business. There are lots of people in the community. I mean, some of them were your clients, but you ask a question and most people are more than happy to give some advice, and developing those relationships is really important. It sounds like it has been to your business.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Like it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah. So that's what takes you everywhere. You gotta like not be afraid to ask a question, even if it's a stupid question. I mean, you're going to think it's a stupid question. No one else does. So just ask the question, and then, people will help.
Canada's economy is changing fast. An economic revolution is underway, and your business is at the heart of it. AI is transforming the way we work. Global trade is shifting. Interprovincial barriers are falling. Thousands of businesses are about to change hands, and new investments are taking shape. This isn't a small shift. It's a real economic revolution. Business as usual? That's no longer an option. The future belongs to those who dare, who innovate, who make productivity a priority, who get ready for what's next and take action now. This Small Business Week, we celebrate the entrepreneurs writing the next chapter. You're not following change, you're leading it. Get inspired, network, and go for it. The economic revolution is here. Is your business ready?
So the theme of this year's of BDC's Small Business Week is the economic revolution is here. Get your business ready. Like whether you're watching Canada, U.S. with Trump and tariffs, and there's all kinds of things, may not affect your business directly. What's going on, but there's a lot of change happening. It's affecting some businesses, some business sectors, but it's shifting fast. That's for sure. Have you made some changes recognizing how, your business is growing? Have you made some changes? Like I'm thinking technology, or is there ways of becoming more, increasing your productivity. Are you making changes inside your business to leverage some of those things like technology?
Yeah, for sure. So like when you talk about that, the first thing that comes to mind is like AI and just like, how people are like could be losing their jobs for whatever reasons. And it's kind of funny because like the biggest sector that might be affected is like software and that sort of thing, which like you didn't think that before, but now that AI is here, it is. And so for us, it's nice, it's refreshing because like home service is the last thing that sort of stuff could take over because it's so it's personal, it's hands-on, it's that sort of thing. But like as far as being seen and like marketing, that sort of thing goes, I think it's important that like we keep up, and we've done this already, keep up with trends, like especially AI. Whereas like if you look at Google right now, like they're going kind of down with like search volume, especially this year. And that's because people are starting to search on AI, like ChatGPT, hey, like let's find a window cleaner near me, that sort of thing. So in business, it's not always the person who's the best, it's the person who markets the best and then treats their customers great. But if you can market yourself good, then you can get the business. Obviously, you have to fulfill the business properly, but it starts with getting your name out there. So it's important to like keep up with that sort of thing and not just rely on Google or newspaper because
it's changing so fast.
Newspaper was good, I don't know, 30 years ago. Now it doesn't work at all. Some stuff can still work, but Google could be the same thing, like it was great, but just because it's been great doesn't mean it will still.
And I think that's the lesson is things are changing fast, and that's the changing landscape. Yeah. Listen, there's many small businesses that are listening to this podcast or watching. What would be one or a couple of or a piece of advice you would give to other entrepreneurs that are looking to either start or scale up their business?
So that would be two different pieces. That for someone starting, like looking to start, I would say, and I've said this before to like people who have asked me, just start. Like even if it might be a stupid idea or like, you don't think you'll go anywhere, which you will think that when you start, just start. Like that's the biggest thing you can do, like 0 to 1. That's like a really, that's a good book that I've read. Yeah, that's the biggest step. Like you just have to start. Because if you don't start, then you don't know what's gonna happen, what's possible. So that'd be the first. And then if someone's looking to scale, like all you got to do is ask. Like just ask people, because it's easier to learn from someone than to learn it yourself. Like so much easier. And there's so much information now. Like with this podcast, like this wouldn't be possible like 20 years ago. There's so much stuff online.
5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just ask. And like even like someone like me, people ask me all the time, and I always help because there's so many people that have helped me and still help
paying
me.
It forward.
So just ask. That's kind of the biggest thing.
And coming back to BDC, and one of the things that they do financing, but they also have advisory services. So when you're thinking of scaling, they can be some of that mentor, if you will, because they've got professionals that can help you with business plans and some of the other things aside from the financing as well. So looking ahead, what's next for the business? So you started during COVID because it was nothing to do, and you're in the midst of a pandemic. You've got 15 employees, I think you said. What's next? What does it look like for you as you look to the horizon?
Just kind of increasing, like I mentioned, our service area at the start. Just kind of increasing that and like maximizing what we can do where we are now, and then like pushing the boundaries because we have like I don't know how many people in Ontario, but like most of the people in Canada are in Southern Ontario. It's like a huge metropolitan population. Like Toronto, you have Muskoka, all these areas. So our goal right now is just scale into those areas. And like the biggest lack in our industry is like not the quality of work, but the showing up on time, like clean cut, like it's low skilled labor. So you can shine if you have like someone that smiles and like someone that's good with talking. Like those are the things that lack.
Good with customer service.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing, customer service, like leaving a lasting impression. So that's kind of our goal right now. Like we have a lot of room to scale, and that's just basically the focus.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, this Kitchener or the regional Waterloo is going to be 1 million people in 20 to 25 years. So there's another 200,000 or 300,000 people are going to end up living in Waterloo region,
Yeah.
let alone Guelph and some of the Mount Forest and other places that you serve as well. So there's lots of room for growth as you scale your business. Listen, part of this, I said this off the top, the podcast it's about your business journey and entrepreneurs and how they've grown and how they started their business, but it's also a little bit about leadership, and business leaders all have a different kind of way that they've done. And we've talked about some of those things, but I always like to end up with a kind of a series of rapid fire questions, because it's always fascinating to see how people, how they view these things. So if you could go back and tell now I have to say, for those of us with gray beards and gray in our hair, you already are younger, but if you could go back and tell a younger version of you, what would you tell yourself?
Like, I guess I would tell myself that, going back to what I was talking about before, that you can trust people throughout the journey. I guess this is what I would say is, usually get caught in the day-to-day, especially in business. Like, you're not really looking at what's
the
possible.
Planning in the future.
Yeah. And so if you want to attract people that will be along for the ride, like good people, then you can't really look at the day-to-day. Their job is more to look at the day-to-day and make sure everything's on track, but you have to cast the vision and remind them of the vision when times are hard and when it's good. And that's probably the biggest thing, and something that I've lacked on in past years, and I'm really trying to do now.
Great advice, and even though you didn't tell your younger self, it's good to take that advice now. So.
Yeah.
Who or what inspires you?
I would say there's a lot of the home service space for many years hasn't really been a trendy thing. No one wanted to go into home service, home improvement. Everyone wants to be a lawyer, or a real estate agent. It wasn't that cool. But now we're seeing especially online, you see a big uprise in that community. And there's a lot of people who I could name some names, but no one really know. People in the space would definitely know them. Yeah. But they're just pioneers in scaling home service companies. And they're kind of what I learn everything from. So a lot of books and podcasts, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
If you weren't in your career you're now, because you kind of stumbled into it in some respects, right?
Yeah.
You went to school, I don't think you would have thought this was going to be your business.
Window cleaning.
But here we are.
Yeah.
But if you weren't in this career now, what do you think you would be doing instead?
I always wanted to do sports long term, professionally. That I'm really competitive, and so growing up, I played a lot of hockey and soccer and mostly hockey. That's kind of what I focused on. So I don't know that would be nice, obviously, but it didn't end up working out. And then and it's kind of for the good.
Yeah.
And now I can see that now. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely see myself building something, because I'm really competitive and I want to always get better. But it's hard to say.
Well, that's one of those characteristics of entrepreneurs, is being competitive and having a strong will. And you talked about a couple of books or podcasts. What are some of those things that you're reading or that you watch on a regular basis to help you kind of recharge or get new ideas? Yeah.
So for podcasts, there's a couple I can name off, the Home Service Millionaire, Tommy Mello. He's one of those pioneers I talked about in garage door space. He's a massive garage door company. It's something so simple, but so massive. So that'd be one. Dan Martell, he's a entrepreneur / coach kind of guy. He does a lot of stuff on YouTube, and podcasting, that sort of stuff. And then basic books Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. That's a classic entrepreneur book. 0 to 1 I mentioned. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Yep.
How to Buy Back Your Time. That one's Dan Martell. Actually, he's the author of that. Just ones like that. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a good one.
You know what? It's common. There's a lot of the titles for many entrepreneurs. There's some staples there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are the staples
that people listen to. Yeah. Okay. Now you're all over Southwestern Ontario, so I'll broaden this out. But do you have a favorite local business, or what's your go-to for either food or coffee, or when you've got downtime? What's your one of your favorite local places?
Aside from Tim Hortons.
Oh, Tim Hortons. But Tim Hortons is an everyday.
I know. Yeah. Like local to here, or like where I'm from?
No. Where are you from? Where are you from? Yeah.
So in Fergus, I go to the Vault Cafe.
Right.
It's a nice cafe. It's right downtown. It used to be like an old bank vault.
Yeah.
They got some good stuff.
I know where you're talking about.
You know it? Yeah.
I know where that is.
The vault.
Yes, I know the vault. I don't know what it was when I lived there 25 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that. I go to Starbucks a lot. I know it's not like a local, but I work there a lot because then you don't get bothered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say the Vault is a nice cafe.
Cool. Okay, and if someone wants to find out about your business or connect with you, where do they find you?
Yeah, so you could follow me on Instagram, or the business. Probably on Instagram is Gladiator Pro Wash, or gladiatorprowash.ca. You can find our website. And then me personally, if you type in Nikki.Preisenhammer on Instagram, you can find me there.
Cool.
Or you can reach out to my cell phone number, 226-332-6375.
Wow.
All you got to do is ask.
You got to ask. You're not hiding from people.
No.
Well, listen, great story of starting something, growing it, and continued success in the days ahead. Thanks for spending time with us.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Behind the Business, proudly presented by Gore Mutual. Thanks again to BDC for this special Small Business Week episode. We're celebrating all week and dropping a new episode each day. You can also visit greaterkwchamber.com to catch up on past episodes anytime.